All right, Avid Scholars, today there are two materials you're going to need to write a TRF. First, a blank TRF like this. It's white and it's in your bin. And a pink sample TRF that's also in your bin. So pause the video right now so you can grab those two materials to do what we're talking about. All right, so the first thing I really need you to do is just kind of read through this pink TRF and just check out the detail of it. We have a student who has filled in everything. It looks like they got 100% on this. But if you're really looking closely, they have kind of a general question, why did Rome fall, which I can ask Siri. It's a very general question. They told me where they got that from. They have some words and definitions. They have a visual to help us understand their question a little bit, maybe just some notes from class, and just giving us some facts. And then this bottom part, it looks like the student used maybe Costa's level 3 question. So they just went to their yellow Costa's packet and they generated a level 3 question. So this student might be doing well in social studies, so they needed to make up a question for tutorials. This question is totally different than this very generic question, okay? This question they actually either wrote from a test or a quiz or a question they got wrong in class, or they generated it from Costa. So we're going to go step by step together on your TRF, and we're just going to put this one right next to it as an example, okay? So the first thing I'm going to need you to do is decide on a class. Okay, so hopefully you found a class that you really want to write your TRF on. Either it's something like a math question that you need help with, or for example, how this student did social studies. So we're just going to start with this first block up here. Obviously, you need to put your subject. So if it's math, you write math, social studies, science, whatever, and the topic that you're going to be talking about. So if you did math, you're doing math constant proportionality, or social studies, the history of Islam, whatever. Don't forget your name. Tomorrow's date is 9:30, and then what period of AVID you have. So if you're period 7, you're period 8, you're period 9, whatever, you put that there. You do not need to fill this out, so just skip that. Your tutors will fill that out. That's how they're going to grade you. Your original question, remember, this is very generic. It's a very simple question, so it's only a level 1 about your topic. So if you need your Costa flipbook to figure that out, get your Costa flipbook or your Costa yellow packet. So for example, this student put, why did Rome fall? Okay. This student put, they were talking about social media. So the question is, what are pros and cons of social media? Okay, so they had some notes on that. This student had the Magna Carta. What is the Magna Carta? And it's from their social studies packet. So take a minute right now. We're going to pause so that you can fill up your original question. Right. Now we're moving on to academic vocabulary. So that's this section right here. If you're looking at your pink TRF, the student chose some really technical terms, empire and political instability, because they knew that those topics would be inside the answer to their tutorial questions. So pick really technical terms. If you're doing math, maybe you want to write the formula and tell us the formula, or you're saying what a variable is, or the word reciprocal. Don't use simple terms. Let's use some technical terms here and make sure you Google them. This is probably what takes the longest time to do on the TRF. So pause the video right now, go ahead and pick your two terms, and then go ahead and write their definitions. You need to Google them because you will get marked down. If you notice, this student did write really good definitions. So we'll pause right here so you can do that. All right, so hopefully you have some definitions here. If you're looking at the pink TRF, this student has put some notes from their class in here. They chose to do this kind of thinking map. That's okay. If you want to do maybe a T-chart or a circle map, the student did a circle map about the Magna Carta. You could also do a T-chart like this. It depends on your subject. If you're doing math, if you're doing a math problem, then the actual math problem goes in here. Okay, so for example, in math, maybe you have um, a square like this, and it's 8 by 10, and you're trying to make it into a larger one. Okay, and so you have 16 by, I'm sorry, this pen isn't working, by x. So you're showing us your math problem, or you're writing the math problem, or you're writing some information, okay? And then in this box is like something, a tip or a trick or a formula or something to help you with your tutorial. So take a minute right now and let's do some graphic organizers, some pictures, some notes, something about your subject that has labels on it, and then maybe some information to help us help you. So go ahead and pause the video now and let's get that information in there. Okay, and the very, very last part, this is really what we're looking at and focusing on. This is what we're going to talk about in your tutorial, is your point of confusion or clarification. This is your level 2 or 3 questions. So this student said, how might the fall of Rome been prevented if the government made better military and economic choices? We would have a really great discussion on this. So make sure you're writing either the actual question from your class that your teacher gave you, or a COSTAS level 2 or 3 question about this topic. It has to look different than that. This is very simple. Why did Rome fall? There's lots of reasons why Rome fell. This is more specific, something we can have a discussion about. So take your time right now. This is the last part of writing your TRF. You do not need to do the back of your TRF. You're going to leave that blank. Tomorrow, we will do that together. This is what your tutor will be grading tomorrow during the tutorials, and this is your reflection after the tutorials. So you do not need to do the back. You only need to complete the front right now.